Brother Raymond. Welcome to the tutorial Introduction to Catholic Apologetics. The term apologetics comes from the Greek apologia, and that means literally speaking in defense. It is a formal defense of an opinion, position, or action. Catholic apologetics is specifically a defense of the Christian doctrine against poisonous doctrine taught by the enemies of the Church. And apologetics also explains the Christian religion. Since the very beginning, the Catholic Church has been attacked by heretics. Councils have been established to determine the true doctrine, to declare dogmas, and to anathemize the heresies. The goal of apologetics is to rebuke objections, heresies, false philosophies, misconceptions, to shed light on difficult matters, to win souls for Christ, to increase and strengthen the faith, and to increase the hope, and to inflame the love for God. The sources we are going to use to do apologetics are, first of all, the Holy Scriptures, preferably a Bible from before Vatican II, a Bible that is based on the Vulgate. We will also use the sources of the Church Fathers, the 20 pre-Vatican II Church Councils, encyclics, bulls from the popes from before the Council, the Second Vatican Council, the Catechism of Trent, and specifically the Summa Theologica by Saint Thomas Aquinas. Why St. Thomas Aquinas? Well, he was canonized in 1323. St. Pius V proclaimed him a doctor of the Universal Church in 1567. When Pope Leo XIII wrote his encyclic Aeterni Patris on the restoration of Christian philosophy, he urged his readers with all force of his apostolic office to restore the golden wisdom of St. Thomas and to spread it far and wide for the defense and the beauty of the Catholic faith. Pope Leo XIII designated St. Thomas as patron of all Catholic universities on the 4th of August 1880. Pope Pius IX ordered Catholic teachers to make the explanations of Christian doctrine by St. Thomas Aquinas the basis for all their teachings. Why do we need to study the Summa Theologica? Well, for two main reasons. First of all, it is a complete scientific exposition of theology. And secondly, it's a summary of Christian philosophy based on Aristotle, the Greek philosopher. Christian doctrine is divided into four divisions. These divisions go back to the early centuries of the Church, for example, in the catechetical instructions of Saint Cyril of Jerusalem, 386. The basic four divisions are the Creed, the Commandments, the Our Father, the Hail Mary. This division became general throughout the medieval period. The Creed, the Commandments, the Sacraments, and prayer became to be the formula of the faith. The Catechism of Trent follows this fourfold division, namely the Creed, the Sacraments, the Decalogue or the Ten Commandments, and the Lord's Prayer. What is the main duty of the Pope? Well, Saint Pope Pius X explains this in the Paciendi Dominici Graecis. namely the office divinely committed to us of feeding the Lord's flock has especially this duty assigned to it by Christ, namely to guard with the greatest vigilance the deposit of faith delivered to the saints, rejecting the profane novelties of words and oppositions of knowledge falsely so called. And in the First Vatican Council from 1869 until 1870, the fourth session, July 18, 1870, on the dogmatic constitutions on the Church of Christ, chapter 4 says, for the Holy Spirit was not promised to the successors of Peter that by his revelation they might disclose new doctrine. Here we have the two definitions, the two principles. First of all, that we have to defend the deposit of faith, and secondly, that a pope cannot include novelties within the doctrine. And this also means that dogma does not evolve like the modernists would like us to believe. Saint Pope Pius X has destroyed modernism completely with his Pacendi, where he not only gives a definition and explains what modernism is, how modernists are thinking, what they are doing, but he also gave the principles how to defeat modernism. Now, in the Second Vatican Council, the modernists have distorted the Catholic doctrine, specifically with the main errors: religious freedom, liberty, false ecumenism, collegiality, and ecclesiology. In all the documents of Vatican II, you will find errors and heresies. For example, in the Unitatis Reintegratio, the decree on ecumenism, there's a heresies inside. Orientalium Ecclesiarum, the decree on the Eastern Catholic Churches, you will find errors in it. The Lumen Gentium, constitution on the Church, there are mistakes in it. Dignitatis Humanae, the Declaration on Religious Liberty, again heresies within the doctrine. Then in the Ad Gentes, the decree on missionary activities, you will have heresies. Nostra Aetate, decree on non-Christian religions, you have heresies and mistakes in that decree. The Sacrosanctum Concilium, the constitution on the sacred liturgy, you find mistakes and contradictions with tradition in it. And lastly, the Gaudium et Spes, constitution on the church in the modern world, you also find heresies in it. So, to end this short tutorial, what is the fuss all about? Well, by the words of our dear Archbishop Lefebvre, in the conference on the 4th of September 1987, he says, Rome has lost the faith, my dear friends. Rome is in apostasy. These are not words in the air, it is the truth. Rome is in apostasy. They left the church. This is sure, sure, sure.